You own this pageant. You go over. You're meeting the girls. It's that one of them comes up to you and says, "Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man, right? Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you." Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No, but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have that. You're a guy who likes to have everything, right?
Well, couldn't that be construed, however, as
conflict?
Yes.
Well, I don't see it as a conflict.
It could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And,
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else, and no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting.
Right,
I want to make sure that
you're like
everything
a doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women, and so I sort of get away with things like that.
In 2001, Tasha Dixon was Miss Arizona, competing in the Miss USA pageant. She experienced this kind of awkward moment firsthand.
Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis.
Dixon was 18 at the time and says watching Trump storm into a dressing room was shocking.
To have the owner come waltzing in when we're naked or half naked in a very physically vulnerable position, and then to have the pressure of the people that work for him telling us to go fawn all over him, go walk up to him, talk to him, get his attention. Who do you complain to? He owns the pageant. So there's no one to complain to. Everyone there works for him.
It's normal to see men in dressing rooms at pageants and the owner of a pageant.
No, the director of the North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Alabama pageants, it's very much a family atmosphere. She doesn't even go backstage when the girls are getting ready. Only the female chaperones are allowed backstage in the dressing rooms with the girls. I've never had an experience where there were men or directors or anything like that walking back in the dressing rooms.
Yeah. That is very.
Give me the thumbs up.
You are a pig.
You gotta get the thumbs up. Can't be too happy. Else off first?
Yeah, let me.
It's very funny.
You gotta give the thumbs up.
You and I will walk in.
Oh my God.
Maybe it's a different one.
Better not be the publicist. No, it's her.
Yeah, that's her, with the gold. I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the I can do anything.
Oh, look at those legs. All I can see is the legs.
No, it looks good.
Come on, shorty.
Oh, nice legs, huh?
Oof, get out of the way, honey. Oh, that's good legs. Go ahead.
It's always good if you don't fall out of the bus. Like Ford, Gerald Ford, remember?
Down below. Pull the handle.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
Trump, how
nice
are
seeing
you?
you. Terrific.
The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection, and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening, and it's got to stop.
You guys cannot take her.
Karen, no te preocupes. Tranquilo. Tranquila, mamá.
You guys are fucked up.
Háblale a Ulises.
You act like you want to have fucking kids.
No te preocupes, mamá. Todo va a estar bien. No se preocupe.
Wait! Don't grab her like that! Don't grab her like that! Oh my God.
Oíste, no te preocupes, mi amor. Yo estoy
Mami,
bien.
ellos no pueden
No me importa si
6 niñas tengo, depende de nosotros.
Ella es la mamá.
Sí.
They just got out of the car with the guns in the hands and say, turn off the car, give me the keys, open the window, and everything was really fast.
Machado says the agents said the name of a man they were seeking for a deportation order, someone who had given Machado's home address. He said that was not his name, and he did not know anyone by that name. He offered to show them this, his real ID-compliant Virginia driver's license. It has a star in the upper right corner and requires proof of lawful status.
They didn't ask me for any ID. I was telling the officer if I can give him the ID, but he said that just keep my hands up, not moving. And then after that, he told me to get out of the car, and then he put the handcuffs on me. And then he went to me and said, how did I get into this country? And if I was waiting for court or if I have any case. And I told him I was an American citizen. And he looked at his other partner like, smiling, like saying, can you believe this guy? Because he asked the other guy, do you believe him?
Machado said he was uncuffed and immediately released after showing his driver's license. The 2 men with him were taken into custody. He does not know why. The incident has caused him to reflect.
Because, like I say, I was a Trump supporter. I voted for Trump last elections, but because I thought it was going to be the things, be pointless, like just go against criminals, not every illegal Hispanic looking like that they will assume we are illegals.
So, do you think that's what they're doing now?
That's what they're doing now. They're just following Hispanic people looking.
U.S. citizens, including at least 2 San Diegans, have received letters from the Department of Homeland Security telling them to leave the country or risk being removed. Tanya Luviano-Hurwitz reports.
It goes against everything we stand for as a country that prides itself on freedom.
Freedom, Adam Peña says he doesn't have anymore in his own country.
It is time for you to leave the United States. Further goes on to mention that if I do not leave, I would face criminal prosecution and or civil fines or penalties.
Penalties for not leaving the country where he was born.
Has sent hundreds of mostly Venezuelan migrants to be held without trial at this mega prison in El Salvador. It's known as CCOT, an acronym for Terrorism Confinement Center in Spanish. The prison opened in February 2023 as part of Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele's highly popular hardline security policy, which has resulted in a sharp drop in homicides. El Salvador claims it is Latin America's biggest, with capacity for 40,000 inmates. It stretches across 57 acres and is located in an isolated rural region. Video taken from inside the facility often shows prisoners tightly packed together with their heads shaved. The mega prison doesn't have an outdoor recreational area and won't allow family visits. A September 2024 report from the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights expressed concerns about overcrowding. It cited a study that found CCOT inmates had an average of 6.45 square feet of space, which is below international standards.
Tonight, a federal judge giving the Trump administration until Monday to bring back this man to the United States from the high-security prison in El Salvador, where he was deported by mistake. Judge Paula Zittis saying deporting Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an undocumented immigrant, was, quote, an illegal act.
Kilmar, if you can hear me, I miss you so much.
Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer, who is an American citizen, says her husband is the man in these images from that prison. The Department of Homeland Security acknowledges he was mistakenly put on a plane to El Salvador with more than 200 men the administration claims are violent gang members because of an administrative error.
It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang.
But today, Judge Zinn is saying, in a court of law, when someone is accused of membership in such a violent and predatory organization, it comes in the form of an indictment, complaint, criminal proceeding, a robust process so we can address the facts. I haven't yet heard that from the government.
Showdown and the folks caught in the middle. We want to bring you the story of Adrian Gil Rojas. He's a man who was here legally and claims he was mistakenly detained by ICE and thrown into a detention center. Weeks later, and because of a plane malfunction, he and his attorney believe he didn't end up at El Salvador's maximum security prison. This is the only time Rojas has spoken to an English language network. And here's what he had to say.
La verdad es algo que es inexplicable lo que uno puede llegar a pensar en ese momento porque solo lo sabe la persona que lo está viviendo. ¿Qué le puedo decir? Es algo que eso me tenía muy traumado, la separación de mi familia, de mi hijo, que es muy apegado a mí.
How were you able to manage during that time?
Ser removido, deportado a una prisión donde no pertenece uno como persona, porque la verdad no soy una mala persona, no tengo delitos, no tengo nada, y eso me perturbaba demasiado.
Rojas, originally from Venezuela, was detained in January by Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers searching for someone else.
It was early in the morning, and ICE basically just entered his home without any permission, didn't have any reason or evidence to detain him.
But Rojas' case is unique compared to other recent ICE detentions. Rojas has temporary protected status, also known as TPS. Rojas received TPS in 2024, which means he was in the country legally at the time ICE went into his home.
He's a TPS holder, and if you have TPS, you cannot be lawfully detained.
Luego me llevaron al centro de detención y empezó todo ese largo proceso, el cual no se lo deseo a nadie ni quisiera volver a repetir nunca jamás.
Rojas and his legal team say while he was detained, he was never told why. It wasn't until 2 months later he was told his TPS was revoked due to his affiliation with a gang, Tren de Aragua. The government citing his social media posts and his tattoos as evidence. But Rojas says that's not true.
No, nunca he tenido ningún tipo de conexión ni comunicación con ningún miembro de ninguna pandilla.
His tattoos are very personal. They honor his mother and his child.
What is your reaction to those allegations?
I'm going to be super clear. My client is not a gang member. There's no evidence whatsoever that he has ever been a gang member. He was detained for 2 months.
His wife is still traumatized from the morning ICE raided their Bronx basement apartment. He worked as a barber and a tattoo artist while she cleaned hotel rooms. ICE agents said they were looking for a Dominican man. She let them in the apartment, having little concern since they were both legal residents from Venezuela seeking asylum. Mikel, still sleeping, was forced to get dressed and then handcuffed. They dragged him away but didn't tell her where. Eventually, she learned that he was moved to a Pennsylvania detention facility for removal. She packed his things, expecting him to be sent back to Venezuela, but disappeared from the system before his scheduled hearing, but later learned he was sent to CCOT prison in El Salvador. Her worst fears were confirmed while watching the infamous CCOT video. She started screaming when she recognized him bent over while his head was being shaved. Philip Halsinger from Time magazine took this photo of him getting off the plane. ICE labeled Mikhail a gang member because of his tattoos, but find me a tattoo artist that doesn't have any. Now he is in a prison known for torture, strangulation, beatings, and electric shock. Was a tourist in the United States, spending some time in New York City with his family, and then in Dallas, Texas with his girlfriend. That is when he was detained by ICE for an expired visitor visa. His girlfriend first learned there was something wrong when she got a call from him in the South Texas Detention Center. He had a scheduled hearing, but before the hearing date, He was mistakenly included to the list of Venezuelan gang members flown to the notorious CICAD prison in El Salvador. How well do you think a sheltered 18-year-old boy would fare in a prison known for human rights abuses where no one ever leaves?
What links this tattoo on a man from Derbyshire to President Trump's efforts to deport gang members to El Salvador?
I'm just an average middle-aged man from Derbyshire.
Pete Belter got this tattoo almost a decade ago.
It's simply just got the date and time that my daughter was born.
But it's now appeared on a US government document about a notorious Venezuelan gang.
Sort of screenshot it, sent it out to my friends on social, sort of saying, oh look, it looks like this year's holiday is going to be 6 months all-inclusive in Guantanamo.
This is the document about the gang called Tren de Aragua. It says that members have been seen with these tattoos, but a reverse image search of the clock led us to this Instagram post. It's from a Nottingham-based tattoo artist who shared Mr. Belton's arm in 2016. Now he's worried his holiday plans to Miami could end up with him in jail.
If I was working in Border Force and saw me walking through, I'd be like, hey up, we've got one. He's the one in the document.
Hundreds of alleged gang members and criminals have already been deported by
and saw me walking through, I'd be like, hey up, we've got one. It's like he's the one in the document.
Hundreds of alleged gang members and criminals have already been deported by the Trump administration to a mega jail in El Salvador. US immigration officials have said they don't rely on tattoos alone, but lawyers of some of those who have already been deported to El Salvador have said they've been wrongfully identified based on their tattoos. Back in Derbyshire, Pete says his family are considering cancelling their holiday because of this. What links this tattoo?
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them. What do you think? There's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones too, and I'm all for it because we can do things with the president for less money and have great security. And we have a huge prison population. We have a huge number of prisons, and then we have the private prisons, and some are operated well, I guess, and some aren't. But he does a great job with that. We have others that we're negotiating with too. But no, if it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now. Pam is studying. If we can do that, that's good.
Criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next. The homegrowns built. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah, that's fair. All right.
It's not big enough.
The fact that Democrats and my colleague, Representative Pramila Jayapal, feel the need to even introduce an amendment that says ICE cannot deport U.S. citizens is batshit crazy. This should not even be a discussion. It is not even a question. U.S. citizens cannot be deported by ICE. It's the law, it's the Constitution. I will be astounded if Republicans vote no on this.
Stunned that I have to tell you this. Republicans just voted, every single one of them, to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens.
They just voted to give Trump the ability, legally, to give him the ability to deport U.S. citizens. That is what they voted for. A bunch of elected U.S. representatives. That is how they voted.
Hey, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. What's your badge number? That's okay. I'm going to pop you right now because you're taking up my focus.
To be partnering with my very good friend Lee Greenwood, who doesn't love his song God Bless the USA, in connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents, yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this God Bless the USA Bible, and it's just very important and very important to me.